Senator Lindgren.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Education and Training, Senator Birmingham. Can the Minister advise the Senate how the government's National Innovation and Science Agenda and University Research Policy will better align research institutions and business to seize economic opportunities that lead to innovative jobs for Australia's future?
Order on my left. The Minister for Education and Training, Senator Birmingham.
Well, thanks, Mr President. I thank the senator for her question. Australia has a very long and proud history of outstanding success in relation to research and innovation, and that's a history we want to build upon. Just very recently, Mr President, we had one of the discoveries of the century, almost 100 years to the day from the pronouncement of the general theory of relativity. Here at Parliament House, represented by Senator Seselja, Australian researchers collaborating with a large international group had helped in their work to observe gravitational waves. It proved a theory that even Einstein had thought impossible, Mr President. It's a proud record that builds on the likes of Howard Florey's discovery of penicillin from my own hometown, to the black box flight recorder, dual flush toilets and Wi-Fi, to name but a few of our many accomplishments over the years. And the National Science and Innovation Agenda of this government seeks to build on that legacy, to put universities front and centre in terms of the drive for stronger collaboration between industry and the research sector, to rebalance, as it is, research block grant incentives with additional funding of $127 million to help those universities transition to a new arrangement of greater collaboration. There's much groundbreaking research underway in our universities, such as new farming techniques that will give us a competitive edge in an increasingly globalised food production chain. New research by Monash University, who are developing a new method for measuring blood pressure, something that could come in handy occasionally in this chamber, Mr President, that may revolutionise medical monitoring landscape. We should aspire to live in a country, Mr President, where our scientists and researchers are as celebrated and recognised as our sportswomen and sportsmen, and that is what is at the heart of our innovation agenda, to ensure that their recognition is supported, their collaboration with business is supported, to give the best jobs and growth outcomes for Australia.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Lindgren, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Will the Minister update the Senate on how the government has responded to calls from researchers and businesses to provide a framework around commercialising university research?
Minister.
Well, thanks, Mr President. And as I said, Australia has great ingenuity and great accomplishments in terms of our research. Great accomplishments.
Senator Whish-Wilson. Senator Whish-Wilson.
Nice tie, Pete. Nice
Minister,
tie.
you have the call.
Mr President, as the Chief Scientist has said himself, we do need to ensure that we realise a greater share of economic benefits from our research breakthroughs. The Innovation and Science Agenda is providing an additional $1.1 billion over the forward estimates through the entire life cycle of innovation, and it puts universities at the centre of the economic transformation the Australian economy needs to undertake. That's why we're rebalancing the incentives, as I said, in research block grants, in line with the findings of the Watt Review. We equally recognise the importance of pure research in its critical relationship. So what we're working to do is get the balance right, Mr President, to ensure all Australians can share in the economic benefits of the research that they fund through their tax dollars. That's why we're developing a new impact measure
Thank you,
around
Minister.
research.
The time for answering the question has expired. Senator Lindgren, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Can the Minister update the Senate on how our commercialisation agenda has been received and on whether there are any viable alternatives?
Minister.
Well, thanks, Mr President. I can say that it has been very positively received, that the Innovation and Science Agenda is, of course, though, just the start of our government's journey, that we want to make sure that we build on the investment of $9.7 billion this year alone in science and research, that we give certainty to our research infrastructure. And we have given that certainty, decade-long certainty, to research infrastructure through the NCRIS, which those opposite left funding cliffs for. That's giving secure employment to 1,700 highly skilled technical and research staff and supporting 35,000 researchers in their work. But it's not just a focus on research, also on investment. We are providing under the Innovation Agenda 10-year exemptions under capital gains tax for investors in innovative startups. That compares with those opposite who want to increase capital gain tax paid by those who are investing in Australia. A clear contrast on this side with a plan to drive down taxes, create more jobs through more investment, as against those opposite
Thank you,
doing the
Minister.
exact
The
opposite.
time for answering the questions expired. Senator Bill